Greetings, friends. In Philippians 4 verse 7, we read about the peace of God, which passes all understanding. And in this phrase, we tend to make peace the emphasis, turning it into a desirable state, and thereby creating a kind of object out of it. And then we go about trying to create it, conjuring up the feeling of peace, creating the conditions for peace, the emotional atmosphere conducive to peace. And when we feel restful and peaceful on holiday, we wonder how we can have more holiday so that we can keep feeling this peace. And the problem here is that this peace is an entity, an object of thought and emotion, and it comes and goes. It gives us hints of a deeper peace, but this deeper, lasting peace remains elusive as long as we're straining for it, like we do towards an object, or an emotional state, or a thought stream. The deeper peace that we long for is an abiding peace that is independent of circumstances or our emotional state. A bit like the blue sky is independent of the weather, but the weather can block us from perceiving the blue sky that's already there. Our conceptual interpretation of life and our emotional reaction to this contorted perception of the world create clouds or pollution that hinder us from perceiving the abiding peace that is always here. So I want to shift the emphasis a bit in this phrase, peace beyond understanding, from the emphasis on peace, which lures us into craning for it, grasping after it. I want to shift that to beyond understanding. We look at the world around us, at our lives, and we are continually trying to weave an understanding of what is happening. And our sense of self is woven into this understanding, with a sense of doom in one moment until things fall into place, and then we have moments of a sense of well-being and satisfaction until the next woe comes our way, and then down we plunge into trouble and despair again. And this is reality according to our understanding. And yes, it is important that we not remain in circumstances that take a toll on our nervous systems, if it is in our power to change these. And it is extremely important that we offer ourselves as peacemakers in these times of division and conflict. As Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." But it's also important that we develop this deeper awareness of the peace that is beyond understanding, beyond circumstantial shifts and changes, beyond our interpretation of life. This peace that is present within all that takes place. And that this becomes our ground and point of departure. Otherwise, we too easily get swallowed up, burnt out, cynical and exhausted by outer circumstances and by the inner chaos that arises when that is all we know. Cynthia Bourgeault wrote, "Just beyond the storms of personal chaos lies the profound indwelling power of love, the source and true center. Just beyond the storms of personal chaos lies the profound indwelling power of love, the source and true center. The indwelling presence of God, the source of true peace, love, and wisdom, is here, lying just beyond the storms of personal chaos, waiting for us to release our grasping, striving, doom-scrolling, and fall into this ocean of peace. Just beyond the world of thoughts, emotional states, and this whole constructed image of who I am and what is taking place around me, is this abiding oceanic peace, the peace beyond understanding, a peace that waits for us in the silence of being, that waits for us to finally let go of all of our self-constructed reality and surrender into the quiet immensity of the Prince of Peace, the one who spoke from this deeper place of being when he said, "My peace I give to you." We've already received this gift. This peace cannot be conjured up from our wills. They're caught up in understanding, and it's a peace beyond understanding. It is a gift of grace, but it is the grace we fall into when we finally let go of our attempts to manufacture a peaceful state or create the conditions for peace. We let go into it when we unhook from our thinking, strategizing mind and surrender into the grace that is always already here. When we rest in this peace beyond understanding, we're gradually cleansed of the habitual clench of self and its limited perspective, and begin to know without the doom clouds of woe and the smog of personal interpretation, which is always polluted by the me perspective. In this place that is beyond understanding, there is a clear-eyed presence that is the peace of God, that becomes a healing presence and a true peacemaker in this world, naturally, that can speak truth to power without fear of self-projection or self-preservation or creating even more clouds of egoic pollution. When we rest and surrender in this space beyond understanding, we are resting in being, in the one in whom our souls are at home. We therefore have everything we've yearned for. It is the deepest homecoming to belonging. And all of our cravings turn out to be distortions of our longing for home, our desperation to belong, our burning for the beloved. Ego says, "I want peace." Being says, "I am peace." Because being is when we are at rest in the embrace of the I am being of God. Nothing more to grasp for or reject, strive for or cling to. And from this place we are free to offer ourselves for the peace of the world. This is beautifully summarized in this quote from James Finlay that I'll end with. We should never romanticize trauma with spiritual sayings. It is a horrible thing. It matters that you get as free from it as you possibly can. But you can go through that evolving process in such a way that it becomes a mysterious place, namely the place at which your inner peace is no longer dependent on the outcome. And how are we to discover, now that it's our turn, how can I become like the hero of the human spirit that looks out on a sometimes cruel but always beautiful and mysterious world and offers myself? How can I become like the hero of the human spirit that looks out on a sometimes cruel but always beautiful and mysterious world and offers myself?